welcome to Women Running Businesses. My name is Gertrude, and we all know that women love to be pampered, and nowadays even men enjoy being pampered. Today in our studio we have Jackie. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
So tell us what you're into.
I'm actually a qualified hairdresser, and I did massage therapy as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been in the trade for 25 years. This is my 26th year in the industry, yes.
And you've always been a beauty therapist or a hairstylist only?
I was mainly a hairstylist, and I just got interested in beauty therapy when I did open up my spa.
So can you tell us about the journey you took into then opening this beautiful place?
The hairdressing part was a bit difficult for me in the beginning because when I came to Harare, nobody knew me.
Right.
So I had to start literally from my balcony at my flat, and that's how I first started. And the clientele grew with time. It took a couple of years, but it did grow. And then I got proper formal employment, and that's how I started to grow my name.
What would you say were the challenges that you faced from the time you were in your balcony to now, for you to then grow yourself to being this big brand that you are today?
On the balcony, I think we didn't have too many issues when it came to, rentals were there, but I didn't have so many assistants, and I didn't have people to help me when it comes to advertising and marketing, etc., etc. And of course, just running the business as a professional, like your taxing systems, your NASA, your NEC, etc.
Right.
It was a bit more involved. Having a proper business is more involved than just doing it at home. Yeah.
Have you studied anything when it comes to you being this professional that you are? Because most of the time, we've got people that have got saloons in a cabin, we've got people, you end up even being bitten by a snake. So what qualifications did you get for yourselves to get to where you are?
Okay, what I did my apprenticeship training with Bloe Polytech.
Right.
That was, late 80s. I did my 3-year training course, and from there I still joined a company in South Africa, was a technical advisor for their products. I did a lot of training with them. Then I did 1 year with Tony and Guy Studios in the UK. They actually, at that time, they were only concentrating on hair cutting. So all the hair cutting skills that I learned from the Tony and Guy Studios in the UK.
Jackie, it's quite interesting that you're talking about all these qualifications that you got, because right now when it comes to beauty therapy, we find people that do door-to-door makeup, they do door-to-door hairdressing, they even do door-to-door massaging, which I think corrects me and the viewers at home if I'm wrong, but it becomes a bit dangerous when it comes to the health aspect. How important is education when it comes to this, and what are the risks and dangers of us, the community, who then seek our services from you to do this to us?
I personally feel for a therapist or a hairdresser, one has to have some kind of formal training.
Right.
If you're a therapist, you've got accredited colleges that actually give out certificates to people that have trained for about a year or more.
Right.
But within the beauty therapy side, they do a lot of human anatomy, physiology, etc., to do with the human skeleton. With hairdressing, they teach you on safety, they teach you on bacterial infections that can actually affect people if they're cutting the hair, because some bacteria can move from one client to the other if you don't properly sterilize your equipment and you use damp towels and wet implements when you're working with clients. So whether you're a therapist or a hairdresser or even a barber, you need some kind of formal training.
Right.
And our colleges offer that kind of training. It's actually there, it is available. But you find a lot of people would rather just say, I'm talented, I've got this gift and I can do it, and they do it. But there's risks normally that are associated with that kind of practice.
If I am one that then is affected by a service provider who gives me this service and then they hurt me, where do I report? Is there a place that I can go to right here in Harare or right here in Zimbabwe and report this case?
Well, we actually do have an association for cosmetologists. The cosmetology industry covers your makeup artists, your hairdressers, your therapists, your barbers, anybody that is in the line of hairdressing and beauty therapy fall under cosmetology.
Right.
Cosmetology is actually the word that covers the whole industry. So we've got an association in place that was actually put in place by the National Advisory Council of Zimbabwe. They approached us as the professionals and said, right, you guys, you need to come up with this thing so that when you have an association, if you've got any issues pertaining to your industry, whatever it may be,
right,
because you there, our constitution actually states that we need to protect our industry. Well, not only the industry, but also the consumers. So if there's any complaints or anything that comes in about complaints or whatever has happened, we can actually take on that case, make it an official case. From there, if we as an association do not have
Take
sort of
any
like,
action.
yes, then that product now goes to the Consumer Council of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And as we've been reminding a lot of our hairdressers to say, this new consumer protection bill that is coming up is going to affect a lot of service providers
that are not registered.
And whatever happens, there's going to be a lot of casualties. Because in the UK, you mess up somebody's hair, you burn somebody's face, you are sued, they don't play.
Right.
But that law is coming here. And we now have to up our game. We have to make sure that we've got qualified people, that we've got people that are professionals in what they do,
Right.
so that this kind of thing doesn't affect your business, because one little complaint can damage your reputation for over a long period of time.
Right.
So we've got to make sure that we're on point and we streamline our activities and how we do our things professionally.
To those that are joining us from home right now, you're watching Women Running Businesses, and we're right here learning a lot and getting our views opened by Jackie, who is a beauty therapist. So Jackie, tell me, what achievements have you accomplished in the past 25 years?
In the past 25 years, I managed to educate my daughter.
Right.
She's now a teacher. I bought my property. I actually bought 2. Yes, I did, because of this industry and because of the amount of work that I put into it. And also, I became the chairperson for the Cosmetology Association 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I think for me, you know, yeah.
Those are really great achievements. So tell us about your daughter. Is she also into cosmetology, as you call it?
My daughter grew up looking at hair extensions,
Yes.
relaxers. She don't even want to know about hairdressing. She's actually a special needs teacher.
Okay. Yeah. So what steps did you take for you to have this big brand that you have right now?
For one, I was totally committed to what I do. I said to myself, right, I'm a hairdresser, and this is what I know best.
Right.
So I decided that if I know this best, then I need to make sure that whatever I do, I go towards doing the best. And that is what I focused on. I decided that whatever it is, whatever it's going to take, it took passion, it took vision, it took a lot of hard work. You know, people look at you and think, but you work every day. But this is what it is when you're committed to something.
Right.
When you're committed to a cause like being a nurse or being a doctor, you do that because it's a profession that you are called to do.
Right.
And I feel that this is something that I was called to do because I've done it ever since, and I've never diversified into anything else because this is what I know best.
So you've been here for the past 25 years, right?
In the industry, 25 years. In this place, I've been here 17 years.
So running a place like this one requires specific rules and regulations. Does a person need to register for them to run a place like this? Or I can just open a place like this for myself and still run it successfully?
Well, most of the time, if you want to open up a hairdressing salon or a beauty therapy place, first of all, you have to register with the authorities.
Right.
You have to have your health certificate, which is given by the city councils. And then, of course, you have to have the proper qualifications. If you're a hairdresser, you have to have a Class 1 certified copy of your qualification, which is a journeyman certificate.
Right.
Or you have to have your City and Guilds 2-year diploma, 1-year diploma, depending on which level you got to. With beauty therapy, we've got ITEC and SEDESCO accreditations. So those are the ones we normally look at when you're looking for therapists or when you're looking to open a spa or a hairdressing salon.
Right.
So there is proper format. You can't just open, well, a lot of people have been doing it because of informalization. The informalization issue is the one that has actually made this thing become widespread, because everyone thought I could operate I can operate wherever I want to,
Right.
which of course was creating employment at that given time.
Exactly.
But what happened was that created this diversion that you see now. The standards, the way you get good standards and then you get very bad standards.
Right.
And that's what caused a lot of them to go undercover.
So in a situation where one cannot afford to go to school, to go to beauty therapy and all that. How have you as an individual, even without giving a person a certificate, given back to the different women and men that want to have a business like this?
Most of the time I mentor. There's a lot of ladies out there that know me, that I've actually trained them, and that have come in from literally nowhere.
Right.
They were shampooists. From shampooists, they started learning how to do the hair. After doing the hair, then they become a personal assistant where they actually do my direct clients.
All right.
And that's how they became popular. They began to know what they were doing. And I think, the young generation should take advantage of people like us that have been in the industry,
right,
to be mentored by them, so that if they want to reach that direction or that level, then they need to know that if you got somebody that can train you right, somebody that's got the right motivation, especially for our industry, I think because I've given it so much, this is what I love the best. And I'm always mentoring, and I've got apprentices that I train every year, every 3 years, so I'm still there to mentor.
Mentorship will always get you to the top. Where your exact mentor is. Join us after the break as Jackie tells us more about beauty therapy. Welcome back to the second segment right here on Women Running Businesses. I'm Gertrude, and today we have Jackie at the studio, who's telling us a lot about beauty therapy. Jackie, can you tell me, umtanako, you said that she's not really into this beauty stuff and anything. So does she do her hair? Does she like making up? Does she enjoy massaging and everything?
Umtanami, she's very beautiful, I don't want to lie to you. Where's Gacha? And also because I have I'm more like her role model.
Right.
She loved makeup from a young age, always liked to look good. So I think, yeah, she's got the touch. She's got it in her, but she's not a hairdresser.
And she's going to follow you sometime later in life, maybe.
Maybe.
So, Jackie, there's a lot of regulations in this beauty, and you spoke earlier on in our first segment that one has to always have these safety precautions. So for a layman walking into a beauty spa or salon, are there certain things that I have to look into before a person touches my hair or before a person gives me a massage or does my nails?
Okay, most of the time, if it comes to massage, we have a questionnaire that your therapist will come up with. And there's a whole lot of questions that are being asked there about your health, if you're diabetic, if you've got hypertension, if you've got any problems with your spine, etc., etc.
Right.
So the therapist normally has to find out exactly what your history is. And then she can advise according to the history that you have. If, say, for instance, you're diabetic, she realizes that you got a problem with circulation in your leg area, she will advise you probably have reflexology or foot massage, so that you can get the circulation back in your legs. If you've got probably a job that you always hunched over the computer and you're spending hours there on the computer, that actually affects your shoulder area and your back and your neck area. So she would advise to say, okay, in this case, I think you would need a neck and back massage. It all depends on exactly what what you're looking at and what the client wants. Others just want total relaxation, and those are the ones that get the full body massage.
What would you say is the importance of getting a massage in the first place?
What the massage does, it actually helps with circulation. It helps to circulate, because you find a lot of parts in your body do not have movement because they're very tense and they're very tight. And what the therapist would do, because they've studied human anatomy and physiology, they know exactly where the nerve endings are. They know where the pressure points are. They know where to press, where not to press, etc. So when they start working on you, on your back or whichever part of the body they're working on, that actually increases the circulation throughout the body, including the flow to the head area. So it all depends. There's this instruction that most people that give massages tell you to do, like drink water after your massage. Why should you do that? Because normally when they're doing some of the pressure points towards the back, you've got your kidneys there.
Right.
So once they start manipulating that area, it actually helps the kidneys to start working even better.
Right.
So when you're done with your hour treatment, you'll find that you'll need to go to the loo.
All right.
Because that will be now the flushing out of the toxins from the system. So that means you got to drink lots of water, you got to take in a lot of liquid intake so that it flushes out the toxins that have been loosened throughout the system.
So if I then get into a spa and I don't get anyone who brings me a chart, this is my first time, I don't even know I'm supposed to ask for a chart. What do I do, and what are the dangers involved in that?
Okay, with seasoned massage clients, most of them know exactly what they want. They walk into a spa, they say, okay, this is what I want. But for somebody that has never been to a spa, it is necessary that they have the chart so they get the history of the client. If that doesn't exist, then I'm afraid that there's a qualification issue, or there's just fly-by-night people that are trying to do whatever they're doing without the proper procedure.
What are the repercussions of you getting a massage not properly done, health-wise?
Sometimes it can actually cause more problems rather than curing the problem.
Right.
Because some massages, depending on the pressure that you use and the points that you touch, you can actually accelerate somebody's blood pressure. Okay. Sometimes you can drain their adrenaline will run to such an extent that it will cause other problems. So normally it would be wise to know exactly
what you want to do,
where you are going, how you're doing it, and exactly what you're having done.
Let's talk about hairdressing.
Yes.
There's a lot of color being added to our hair these days. Is it not dangerous to the scalp, to the skin? And how can one get a proper tint done to the head professionally without any dangers?
If your hairdresser is qualified, of course, she's been trained to do the proper procedure. Some people feel that because they know how to do certain stuff, they can just do it, but chemicals are chemicals.
Right.
Whichever way you look at it, it could be a relaxer, it could be a tint, it could be bleach, it is a chemical. And if the person doesn't know what they're doing, you can actually lose your hair, you can get serious scalp burns. Some of them are actually irreversible because they can actually damage the first layer of the skin.
Right.
And the hair doesn't grow anymore. It's like abusing anything.
Right.
Too many hair extensions can finish the hairline. Too many wigs, everything has its repercussions.
Right.
But I think with chemicals, they normally will tell you for professional use only.
Right.
They say that because they know what they say.
Beauty is something that everyone wants to have. It makes you very confident, but it can also be dangerous. We are getting a lot of insightful information right here on Women Running Businesses. Join me again after the break for our last and final segment, right here with Jackie. Welcome to our third and final segment right here on Women Running Businesses. I'm Gertrude Munamo for those that are just joining us right now. And today in the studio we have Jackie, who's been serenading us on the importance of beauty therapy. So this is the most exciting episode right here on Women Running Businesses because I get to make you do what I want. So tell me, who's your favorite singer?
I loved Whitney Houston. And I still love her.
So I'm going to ask you to give me a piece by Whitney Houston.
I found out what I've been missing, always on the run. It took some time for me to see. Babe, you give good luck. The rest I can't, the voice is rusty.
We've got a singer. She's exceptional, I must say. That's quite beautiful.
Thank you,
you actually got me. So what else do you do besides the hair and the massaging when it comes to beauty therapy?
With beauty therapy, normally, well, in the spa we do the facials and we do everything. Like if somebody's got complicated skin,
right,
they can actually do analysis to find out what type of skin, whether they're oily, they're dry, whatever, then they can actually advise on what products to use to maintain the look and maintain the facial.
How do you think beauty therapy can be a positive trigger to a person's mental health?
I think confidence is one thing that brings out the best in a person. Once
right,
you're looking good, makeup is well done, the hair is done, automatically that elevates you.
Right.
Mentally you feel better, you feel more relaxed, and you feel like people can actually talk to you and people can actually handle you rather than somebody that doesn't look the part.
Right.
So I think it's an overall well-to-do thing.
What would you advise a person that's out there, our viewers that are watching from home, the insightful information that you've given today? What advice can you give that young upcoming therapist who wants to get to the level that you are on?
I'm encouraging a lot of them because a lot of people don't seem to respect therapists because of the misconceptions. When you talk about beauty therapy, when you talk about massage, is something else which annoys. It's very annoying because you find people only think only men go for massages. But it's not only about men having massages. Women can have massages. Pregnant women can have massages. Children can have massages, including babies. They can all have, because that's one thing that actually helps with the system. So I'm encouraging young upcoming ladies that have the knack for whether it's makeup, whether it's beauty therapy, whether it's hairdressing. I encourage them that this is one of the fastest growing trades in the world. Where people can become self-employed if they're professional. People can make their money. They can become makeup artists for celebrities and etc. etc. It's actually an exciting trade, and it's less stressful because it's beautiful. It just goes with
everything,
with the flow.
So Jackie, I'm so excited because you've given us so much information that a lot of people really didn't know about beauty therapy. Would you say this is a lucrative business that anyone can actually engage in and be well to do?
Yes, I think that it is actually, because it's more a psychomotor skill, because you're using your hands, and anything where you use your hands, you will never go hungry. You will always have, no matter what the situation is. And I think for those that want to do it, it's lucrative. Yes, it is.
Beauty therapy is quite lucrative, as you heard it from the guru right here, Jackie. Now she's going to take us through her beauty spa so we can learn more and see how it works practically. Join me.
Hi, I'm at the salon right now, and I've got a client of mine here who has beautiful, thick, long hair. The only problem is she doesn't like the color anymore. She feels it's a bit dull and it's a bit unattractive. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to put in some highlights where I use foil paper together with the color deposit so that we can try and get rid of the dark pigmentation there in the hair. But we're just doing them, just a few of them, so that it's not overly light that she can't bear. We'll just put them in so that they're in between. So normally with that method, we have to use foil paper so that we don't color all the hair. We just color the sections that we want to be colored. So I've mixed here my bleach cream powder with a 30 volume peroxide so that it can lift the natural shade of her hair. And then we take it from there. We develop it for about, say, maybe 10 minutes. We check. After 10 minutes, if it hasn't taken, then we check again after maybe 20 minutes maximum. What else you want to know? Okay, so let me do that. So it's actually quite a process, because you got to make sure that you cover all the strands so that the color's even. But if somebody has been using henna powder, the color doesn't normally come out as nice as you'd expect it to. If somebody's been using black dye, that also becomes a problem. But in most cases, if you've got the right product, you've got the right strength of peroxide, you can actually lift the color to be 4 to 5 to 6 shades lighter. And sometimes with highlights, you find it's a repeat process. You've got to keep doing it so that eventually the color takes to the hair, especially for the darker hairs. So now we're just giving her foil highlights. They call foil highlights. So we divide the hair into 4, as you can see, and then we work section by section until we get to the top. The downside of this kind of treatment is that it does tend to dry the hair out. So the client will need to come back for oil treatments, or she'd have to come back for deep conditioning treatments at least once a month. so that the hair doesn't dry out too much. Like any chemical, it does have adverse effects, and one of them is drying the hair out.
We moved around the beauty spa and we learned so much. I'm sure some of us at home really want to have a beauty treatment one of these days. Join us again next week on Women Running Businesses. I'm your host, Gertrude, and this is
Jackie.
Thank you very much. See you next week.